Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about some basic Linux bash scripting. My name is Riju and here is my Twitter handle. So let's jump into the demo, talk about it there. So what I have here is a Linux shell, no matter from where you are running, but I'm running it from WSL2, that is Windows Subsystem for Linux, on top of Ubuntu image and connected using Windows Terminal. So you can actually use any version of the Linux and then follow along. So what I wanted to say is that some of the things you do with the bash script is that you say ls, that basically lists those files. You say pwd, it shows you the value, the folder location where you are in, etc. etc. Now you want to do a lot of such activity one after another, and you want to automate that. So let's say you don't want to type it or copy paste it again and again. You want to have it all given as an instruction in a file and execute one after another automatically. If you want to achieve something like that, the best way is to achieve this is by writing a script. So let's see how we can write a script. So let's try writing something which is in this command prompt. So let's say I want to put a condition like if, um, and then print something, or I want to say that I want to print echo hello. Okay, if I say that it prints hello, but it gives me an output. So if I want to, let's say, save it to a variable, the hello thing, say a equal to hello. Now, notice here when I define a variable, I don't give a space in between the variable name and the value. So the equal sign is attaching both the text together. So there should not be any space. Now to print that out, so you say $a, it doesn't say hello, right? Because it's not a command. You can say echo $a. It says hello. Now anytime you do it in the same session, it will show up. Now if you want to put a condition saying that if I want to see if this $a is equals hello, okay, and I say this, then I print matched, okay, and then say I. So what I want to do is that, let's say I put a condition and I say then, and I say echo hi fi. So you can see that it is showing as a hi. If I want to say that does it match with hello 1, definitely not. Then it shows no value because I do not have, let's say, the else condition. Things can become really complex, right? And writing them all in single line becomes a bit tricky, right? It's possible, but it becomes tricky. So what is the option? The option is to really put them all in a file. Now, how do you put that? So sc.sh. So let's create a file with an extension sh, generally for the script file. Just to identify, you put sh, but that's not something mandatory, right? You can have a script without sh. So let's put it in sh, and then you say that I want to check the value a with something like here, and I say a equals hello, okay, and I'll just put it in double quote and then say hello, and then I want to print that a, okay, and I say $a. That's how you call a variable. And I just come out of this, save this file, and try to execute it. See sc.sh. It prints hello. Now you just wanted to see what is that file look like. So if I say ls -l, you will see that this file is executable. that is read write X, that is executable for both the users. So it is fine at this point in time to execute this file. However, one of the best ways is to identify this file as the script file is to add, let's say you go to top, put a value here, is to indicate that this is a bash script. So what we say that hash exclamation slash bin slash bash. If you do that, then it basically adds, it makes this file a scriptable file. It'll give you the same output. That's all right. So you can just say dot slash and the file name or the full path of the file name. That's absolutely fine. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a few programming constructs which typically you might need. So let's put an if condition. So if I say if, and then what we did is that if has got a double closing and opening bracket. So if $a equals good morning, which is not this case, then we can say then I put a tab echo matching, and then I can put an else condition. I say echo not matching. Okay, and then if I say 5, it basically goes ahead and then saves the whole thing. If I come out, then what happens when you go to this sc.sh, you can see that it prints the actual value, which is hello, and then it also tells that it is not matching because my condition is checking against good morning, not with hello. So if I, let's say, replace this with good morning, it's all double, it's so I say good morning, and then if I come out of this and run, it'll say good morning and then it'll say matching. So this means that if condition is working. Now let's say I want to replace this if and show you some of the other looping things. So I've got a DD, so just delete this, and then I want to run some continuous loop. So if I have to do that, so what I can do, I can either take for loop or while loop. So these are the loop for running um, running um, things one after another in a sequential manner. So let's see how the for loop looks like. So if I say that um, for and this one I equals 0. Remember, no assignment with space. Okay, I less than 10 I plus plus. So which means that I'm starting a value variable I with 0, incrementing that by 1 every time I go through that, and then doing something, and then reaching up to 9, and it should end. Now you say do and done. So once it is done, you say done. And in between, what you do is that you put some thing called hello 10 times. Okay. So if I just do that and you say this, you say it prints 10 times and hello. Now just to make sure that this is doing the right thing, instead of hello, if I print the value of I can use $I. And that will, sorry, $I, and that will print the value of the I from 0 to 9. So that's a for loop. So I don't have to increment it. It'll automatically increment it because this instruction is given already. If you want, let's say, a step by let's say 2, you can always say that I plus I equals to something like that. So if you have some different things, you should ideally be taking over into another kind of loop that is your while loop. So if how that while loop looks like. So while requires a variable. So I need to define a variable I equals to 0, and then I need to say while. And here I'll use the $I, and for number we use dash gt, lt, gt for greater than, lt for less than, eq for equals, so like that. So we will see that for I, lt less than, okay, 10, I finish this, and then I say do, and I say echo $I, and I say done. All right, I come out and I execute the same file. So it says that there is no command found. So let me see where I am missing. So I have got a while loop, and that while loop has, let me put some space. Okay. Sometimes they complain, so sometimes they don't. So we have do equal. Okay. Now what happens, what is missing, important thing is that I need to manually increment the value of I. To increment the value of I, what you need to do is that you need to say $I here plus 1. Okay. And that's the value of the new I. And every time it runs a loop, it becomes that new I. Okay. So let me see that. And now it shows you the value 0 to 9. Okay. If you change this to a different step, okay, so you say that I want to now, let's say, do increment it by 2, not 1. If you do that, sorry, if you do that and execute this script, it shows the value 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, because as soon as it reaches 10, it ends. It doesn't print because the condition says that it should be less than 10. Okay, so it exits the loop. So like that. So you have got many different kind of looping options available. So let's see another option of for loop. So instead of we writing that for I something something, so what we can do, we can just go ahead and then say that I want to write a for loop, but this time I say for I in, and some of the language constructs like C sharp, they use for each loop. So it is similar to that. I dot dot 10. That means I am going in a range from 1 to 10 incrementing by 1. Okay, if you don't specify the step, by default the step is 1. I say then um, sorry, in a loop you always use do. Okay, do, and then you say equal $I. That will print the I, and then say done. Okay, once this is done, you come out and you execute this, and it prints 1 to 10. If you want to, let's say, step, put a step how that increment will happen. So how do you do that? You put step as 2. Okay, so let's see whether it executes. It is now executing starting from 1 and going into a step mode. That means increment by 2, and it does show you that. Now last thing, let's see how we can probably use an array, which is an important language construct. Now let's use the same file, and let's use 4 to 5. Let's use this, clear this up. And what happens if I um, put an array? So if I declare a variable called array, and then array looks like this: apple, there's a space, grapes, maybe there's a space, then orange, maybe there's a space, nothing. So the one that's enough. And then if I run a for loop and then say for I in dollar this array and then at the rate, that's how you call an array, and then do echo dollar I done. So what it basically would try to do is that it try to pick one element at a time and then will show you the output. So you can see that there's a spelling mistake with orange. That's okay, but the three values which I specified in an array, which is not a number, right? It's cannot be a sequence, right? It's just three words, random words, which can also print that out. So these are the basic language constructs in the Bash programming language, which you can play around with and kind of um, loop through. And looping is important, condition is important, like you have got loops like while, for, until, select. So these are all advanced kind of loops. You want to do that. You have got loop for a loop condition decision making, that is your if condition. One thing you need to remember, that if there is text, then you use typical equals sign for the matching, right? If you want to match whether one value matching with another, use equals, but if they are number, use dash eq. Okay, that's the only change you have. And then there are a couple of loop controls available, additional loop controls available, which allows you to also break. So if you want to break something based on some value, you can always use break and it will break the loop and it'll stop over there. If you, let's say, have anything advanced, you can always go and refer to the documentation. But in mostly in general, these are the basic language constructs which you might want to play around with. Hope this was kind of helpful, and this will help you work on things like Kubernetes, etc., because sometimes it requires you to write Bash script, a little bit of it, but not much. But if you want to really make things simple for your life, if you are doing one thing again and again, you should be putting them in a script kind of thing so that all of them will be executed one after another without you doing it manually. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.